How's it? Today is Wednesday, October 5th. I am doing an extension of last week, continuation of last week. Back squat, weird back squat, still negative with the pause. Plus two regulars, then some power cleans, some clean pulls, some overhead press, and then some accessories. Um, Today is an extremely long day of lifting. I think one thing that I did not remember was how late working to 7 is. Because last week I actually I had a week off, right, last week. And I went to the gym after I went to Top Golf on Wednesday morning. So I had the whole time to kind of just take my time and lift on Wednesday. It was my first set of that weird slow eccentric plus two regular back squats. One plus two. It's like 10 total sets altogether. But yeah, like I was saying, I had that whole time to do all of the lifting I needed to do for Wednesday in the middle of the day, and then I went back to work yesterday at the clinic, and I did not anticipate how tired I would be doing this session. It was a little bit ridiculous to think that I had to do like 15 active sets, like 15 actual like trying hard sets after the squats. This is 10 sets of stuff. It's really like 8 sets of like moderate effort, and then one set that's like pretty hard. But I still have to do 15 sets, not including warm ups for the rest of my other things, which is ridiculous to me. Um, After I do 6 sets of that top set, I do one final set with 1 plus 9. I think it's 9. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, just 9. Just 9, right? I think one thing I was looking at during those reps was at the bottom of the hole. First thing that I noticed is that my hips would shoot out, would move back posteriorly out of the hole, and that's not something that I want to happen. I think for all of the other reps on the other sets, I had a lot of energy and I wasn't too fatigued, and I was more focused on being proper with technique, and I was able to keep my hips under me. But if I'm pushing my hips back out of the hole, it kind of produces a less than stellar bar path, which is brings me to my next point for my power cleans today. There are some reps on my power clean where immediately off of the ground, my hips shoot back posteriorly. It doesn't happen as much on the first reps, but it does happen in the third rep, I think, for almost all of my top sets. And if I'm able to keep the body weight like more centered overall, I think all of these reps would be significantly easier. We'll see what happens next week, but 93 was not super nice to me today. So you can see there, my hips do remain pretty centered, but as it goes further and further into the sets, not as bad as I've talked about it, but I believe this third rep is going to show you something that I am not proud of, or I guess I that I'm actively working to fix. Actually, not too bad. That was the first set overall, though, but in my opinion, it does not look super great on some of them. I think one thing I'm trying to think about here is keeping my chest up a little bit longer. I think I probably talked about it last week at some point. I don't remember, but keeping my chest up a little bit longer while keeping the bar under my chest. I keep my chest up pretty long, but if my bar is not under me, then I am going to be struggling at some point. So I think it's important for me, to try to stay on top of the bar. Yeah. At this point in the workout, I was imagining just going for 3 sets here. Oh, that first power clean was pretty solid. I was debating on just ending it with 3 sets because I think the first week he gave me last week, I think he was saying like I can do a range of 3 to 5, but yeah, so it's starting to happen here where my hips are coming or shooting out laterally. Sorry, not laterally. That doesn't make any sense. Posteriorly, immediately off of the ground. And what that means is that my whole center of gravity is shifted back. So what ends up happening is I jump back a lot. There, you can see it there. And like I've always been told that like jumping back is a lot better than jumping forward, but I think ultimately if I'm able to not jump back at all, then I am doing something right. Another thing that I was thinking about here for these cleans was try not to use my arms as much, but it ends up happening quite often. I think that if I'm able to pull with my arms a little bit so that the bar height for at extension is a little bit higher, then I get a better positioning overall. But what ends up happening is if I pull my arms like that right there, then the timing and the catch at the end is a little bit disjointed. Solid rep there on that first one. Real solid, real solid. Let's see if I do that posterior hip. Yeah, I do it, and so now you can see that I jump maybe like half the length of my foot backwards. Which again, like it's not the end of the world, but I should be able to just go straight up and down. And I've always jumped back for all of my powers and stuff like that. I don't jump back for my full snatches or full cleans, so I don't think that it's it's a desirable aspect of my lifting. After that, I moved into my clean pulls, just 103 for 5 triples. I'm trying my best to kind of let my legs push as my hips change, like my hip extension versus flexion angle changes, trying to allow my legs to push and then keep my upper back or I guess my whole back angle the same. I did not do that on that first one, not at all. A little bit better there. Not so great. I think next week I gotta remember how long this is gonna take me. You know, this workout it didn't take that long, like in actual time. It took a lot of mental energy, in addition to physical energy. Like I was completely gassed, and like before I even started my pulls, I was just like, what the fuck? Like what am I doing? Why am I here? Should I just go home already at this point? But I did not, and I kind of made it a point to figure out how to kind of get through everything, just because I don't like when I slack on stuff and when I skip out on stuff. So I want my best to just continue going forward. I think another thing that I did not mention that I was thinking about for those pulls was um, keeping my bar close to me by curling my wrists up. Some people say it's point your knuckles down. Some people say it's like pull through your pinky and then curl your wrist. Or what I like to say is lift like Lasha Talahadze or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's very good at that, and it allows him to keep the bar close. I think that is one of the reasons why I have a good bar path for almost all of my lifts. So focusing on that for the clean pulls is of high importance to me. After those pulls, I do my overhead press. We're going to increase by 3 kilos each week for 5 sets of 5 for forever, or until I can't, which might be next week. We'll see. Um, He said for 10 weeks, if I increase by 3 kilos for 10 weeks, that is 30 kilos, right? Or, well, 27 kilos, because the first week would be no increase. Yeah. Yeah. That's how math works. Finish off with some dips. My back extensions. Completely gassed. I am trying to eat a lot better this week and next week and the week after that, for the foreseeable future. I think I'm a little bit more overweight than I would have liked to be at this point. But that said, that's all I have for today. And yeah, thank you for watching. Shoots. Chirp. Chirp.